Recently, we've been using a lot of text objects, and then in the raster vector graphic test, we did some shape transformations. We're going to work on shape transformations a little bit more. I'm going to go to my Web tab, and I'm going to choose Web Minimum, 1024 by 768, 72 ppi. I'm going to call this Shape Transformation. Great. There we go. We have an artboard and layer 1. You may not have an artboard. Yours might just be layers. This could be a difference in our software. I'm going to use this rectangular marquee tool here. Remember, it could be hidden behind any of these others, but the rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle in the middle of my screen. Now I want to fill that rectangle. So reminding you how to fill things like that, you can go to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to fill it with black. There we go. Put it right on layer 1. See those marching ants around the edge? Remember, Control D will deselect those. This isn't going to really do much unless we make it a smart object. So I want to right-click out here on the layer and choose Convert to Smart Object. I'm going to go to my video timeline. And when I do that, I now have my artboard. I can pop that open. And then I'm going to work within my layer 1. I'm going to pop that open and see these properties. I have the transform, opacity, and style. We've worked in several of these before. I'm going to click on my move tool. And I'm going to click on the stopwatch for transform. I have my playhead right here at the beginning, and it put a keyframe right at the beginning. And I'm going to move this object off the screen a little bit. I want it to actually come onto the screen, fly onto the screen. So now I'm going to move my playhead, about halfway. So it's about 30 frames, or 15 frames, sorry. Between 10 and 20 is 15 frames. And when I move this object, I'm going to move it to the opposite side of the screen, and it put a keyframe. Now I'm going to move it about 15 more frames, which would be 1 second, and then I'm going to move it across the screen to the other side. I can move it so it lines up. There we go. And I'm going to move my playhead about 15 frames again. This time I'm going to hold my Shift key because I want to squash this down and lengthen it all the way across. But I'm holding my Shift key so that I can do this. When I'm done with that, I get it the way I like it. I hit my check mark. I'm going to move my playhead. This time I'm going to move it a full second over. And we're just estimating with these things right now. So I'm just playing around with this. I'm going to make it small. That's not really looking the way I want it. So I can actually hold my Shift key and get the shape I want. Draw it out. There we go. Hit the check mark. Again, we're just playing with the shapes to get them to move around the screen. And we're putting in multiple keyframes this time. I'm going to move it along a little bit more, about 15 more frames. And this time I'm going to move it up to the other side. And I'm going to grow it out across the screen like that. Made it bigger than my stage. Hit the check mark. I'm going to move my playhead again. And I'm going to make it smaller using my hand tool to move it around. Come to the middle here. There we go. And now I'm going to add some rotations, moving it about 15 frames. I'm going to move it and turn it a little bit. Check mark. Move my playhead. I'm going to spin it a little bit more. Check mark. Spin it a little bit more. Check mark. Move my playhead to the end and make it small. Okay, let's watch it. I'm going to rewind. And we're going to watch what our shape does. It goes across, stretches, moves across our screen, twirls, and then kind of disappears. At that point, if I really wanted to, I can move my playhead back here. I can click the opacity stopwatch. The opacity is at 100. Then I can move my playhead again and then change my opacity to 0. That way it fades off and it doesn't stay on the screen. So rewind, hit play. Happens kind of fast and fades away. You're going to be creating something similar. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but I would like to see that you have a variety of motion and movements and multiple keyframes, and your shape should change size, location, position, and opacity. So it should look like it's transforming. Make sure you save it as a PSD, and then make sure you save it and export it as an animated GIF, save for web. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your lesson.